Hello, friends and all. I hope you're friends. I mean, if you're not friends, that's fine too. If you're just here, stopping by, just checking out the scenery, appreciate it. Thanks. In case you're curious, we are pretty far into this Northwestern Dynasty. We've gone quite a long ways as we are here now in our 2017 off season. We just won the national title, and as you can see, our starting quarterback John Hobson is looking to declare early. Now, there's even more important names throughout here that are graduating. Vincent Austin's another one. Alfonso Galloway, our top receiver here, and Mitchell, our running back, our best running back from this year, all leaving. But John Hobson's the only junior that we really care about that is leaving. So we recruit so well now that I don't even worry about the juniors that want to leave early. And we're finally a good enough program where if they're leaving early, they're probably just going to declare for the draft. John Hobson could probably go start in the NFL, I bet. So it's not going to matter, though, because we're getting nothing but blue chips, baby. Blue chips on blue chips on blue chips. We're getting the top recruits in certain positions in the entire country. So I'm not even worried about it. We've got 2 national titles in the last 3 years. Another number 1 recruiting class, I'm sure of it. So John Hobson was a great quarterback, but we were probably just replaced him in that class alone, or we have someone waiting in the stable who's a 90-something overall, so it doesn't even matter. And there you see 15 5-stars. I mean, you can't touch that, dude. Our recruiting run is insane. We've had the top recruiting class for like 7-8 years. I'm not even worried about it. So our first Big Ten threat here, Ohio State, is coming in at 4th. So, and they're really the only close one here. We're already out of the top 10. We're still not finding another Big Ten opponent. Air Force, who seems to be undefeated every year, drops to 14. Miami, who we beat in the national title game, is at 15. And finally, Wisconsin shows up at 18. So, not a huge step up for them. Some random teams here getting in the top 25. Miami of Ohio, sticking with the consistency, and another MAC team rounds out at 25. So, kind of a weird top 25 is we are so far away now from the start of this dynasty that college football is just going to start getting weird, man. Things are just going to start getting pretty weird. You're going to see a lot of teams who shouldn't be where they are. I mean, after all, we did see an Oregon State, Colorado State national title game like 2 years ago. So anything can happen at this point in the dynasty. Really what we're doing here, at this point, I guess I'll ramble while we look over our training results for the year, and you can just see how stacked the lineup still is, how stacked the roster still is from top to bottom, even with our new recruits coming in. I guess the point, at this point, for this dynasty mode is just to complete that 20-year gap. So I set out when we started to kind of do, because the game, NCAA 04, I think is now officially 20 years old, so I wanted to see if I could rewrite history, the 20-year history since this game came out and the present day for the Northwestern Wildcats dynasty or program. And we've essentially done that. I've already done that. I've won, I think, a few Big Ten championships. We haven't really won the conference that many times. I think we've only won it 2 or 3 times. And then, of course, we have 2 national titles, which is more than Northwestern will probably ever be able to say. So I think we've done that job pretty well, but there's still a handful of years left before we reach that 20-year mark. And I think when I recorded this, when I started this series, it was more like 19 years. So I think that's more so where we stop. By now, it's been 20 years, 21 years. But when I started this, we were tiptoeing on like 19 or 20. So that's where we are going to be at heading into this as I resort the lineup here. And there's people that you probably saw starting last year who aren't even going to get to start this year just because we have so many horses in our stable. Like Major Sterling, I don't think is going to be starting here, and certain defensive formations will probably get out there, but he's a 99 overall and we've got no room for him in the starting lineup. So that's kind of crazy, man. And we have a brand new kicker. Napoleon Dyer is no longer with us. Heath Nixon now, the sole Nixon brother on the roster, and also Mitchell graduated, so he is going to be our starting running back. While I was rambling, I didn't see our starting quarterback, so I guess that's going to be a surprise for me as we go ahead into the season. And there we grace the cover of Sports Illustrated. I guess we are the favorites moving into this. Obviously, we would be, as we're number 1 in the country. Our schedule is pretty weak. I like to keep it pretty weak since our conference schedule is really tough, but even the Big Ten is pretty weak. We only have 2 ranked opponents, period, on our schedule, which I don't think has been a trend at all in this entire in Dynasty mode, we always typically have at least 3 or 4 ranked Big Ten opponents when we do these. So we're going to sim through the season like we always do, and hopefully we can have another amazing run like last year. So we start things off on the road to Dallas to play SMU, and we barely get out of there with our lives, only winning by 2 points on the road against the Mustangs, but we do win. So we're going to follow that up with our first home game at Ryan's Field against Tulsa, and we crush the heck out of Tulsa because of course we do. They're always bad, and they're going to stay bad. And then we followed up with another dominant victory, a 41-win victory over a winless Oklahoma State Cowboys football team, and that's going to take us into our last at a conference game on the road to Tempe, to Sun Devil Stadium, to play the Sun Devils, where we beat them pretty embarrassingly in front of their own fans, and that takes us into our grudge match with Ohio State every year, and this one is a shootout, but it ends with us on top at Ryan's Field, taking down number 6th ranked Ohio State. Puts us in great position to win the Big Ten, because as you know, if we win that game, I mean, we really don't face another challenge in the rest of the conference, but I don't want to speak too early here, as we go on the road to Minneapolis, and we do beat Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, yet again. I don't know how many times we've lost to them, if at all. Maybe once or twice in this dynasty, but we pick up another win against the Hoosiers as well, who are already on a great start to having another 1-win season. I just don't know what's wrong with the Hoosiers, man. I really don't. But we do pick up the close win to Wisconsin, who's having an awful start to their year. It's still a close game. I mean, there's just some juju, some voodoo stuff going on with this matchup between us and the Badgers, but we do manage to win it to hold on to our perfect record. So our 2 biggest games here against Ohio State and Wisconsin end up in wins, and Wisconsin doesn't even look to be in the race for the Big Ten, so we're in a prime position to win another conference title as we crush the Boilermakers 41-9, who are also having a terrible year, and then it happens. We lose to the Nittany Lions, man. Our one loss in the Big Ten so far is against the Nittany Lions, so I don't think that's going to do too much for our conference chances, as we do pick up a win against Michigan, who might have been in the run for it. I doubt it, but we get right against Michigan as we lose by just a field goal to the Nittany Lions, man. Oh, that's tough. That is tough. And that drops us all the way to 13. You see that, man? We dropped all the way out of the top 10 off a 1 loss. That is insane. We were getting no love from the rankings at all. And of course we beat Illinois, the Fighting Illini, to keep the Sweet Sioux Axe for like the 8th straight year. I don't even know who's keeping track anymore. But we do manage to win the Big Ten, even though we lose to the Nittany Lions. So add another conference trophy to the trophy case. I'll take as many of those as we can get. I want to be a perennial Big Ten winner, and we are cementing ourselves as that. Not just perennial best team in the Big Ten, but to actually win it and get the trophy. So we managed to do that. And, of course, no one is here in the Heisman voting, but we get another bid to go play in the Rose Bowl, this time against the Cal Golden Bears. Yeah, right? Yeah, that's what Cal is, right? They're the Bears, right? Jeez, I'm falling apart. but we get a chance to play against Cal, and we were going to simulator game against Cal because we don't need to watch that. We've already seen some Rose Bowls. I only want national titles at this point, and we destroy Cal. So we get our 2nd straight Rose Bowl trophy and our 2nd straight Big Ten trophy in this season. Our 1 loss to Penn State kind of derails everything. I mean, in real life, I don't think that really would have mattered that much. We probably still would have been a lock for the national title after being number 1 for the entire season, but whatever, I get it. We'll take a step back this year, I guess. I'm not even going to call it a hangover. Like, that was actually like a good year for us as we beat the Bruins. The Bruins, right? Or was that UCLA? Dude, just forget it. Ignore me. Ignore what I'm saying. Just ignore all of it. Who cares? And did I say that Rice was number 2? Hold on. Did I say that Rice was number 2? Air Force number 4? God, if we're getting bounced out for those teams because we lost to Penn State, get out of here. Michigan picks up a win against Alabama. I think that bowl game's happened like 3 times in this series. Ohio State picks up the win against Arkansas, so our conference is up. You love to see that. And Virginia Tech, man, gets to 6, so they didn't need us. I guess they're better off than we are. And Colorado State makes it back to the national title. Not only do they make it back, but they win it. And they beat the Oklahoma Sooners. So hold on as I pull up my spreadsheet here for our national titles. So this is Colorado State's 2nd national title appearance in 3 years, and it's their 2nd national title win, period, in this dynasty. It's their first. They won it in 2012 when we went to the Rose Bowl to play USC. They won it that year against Texas. So there are 2 victories that they have in the national title game aren't slouches, man. Like they are actually they've won like against important opponents. Like they just beat Oklahoma. Like geez. So And if you're curious about Oklahoma, that is Oklahoma's first appearance in a national title game since 2011 when they lost to Louisville. That's when they went back and forth with Louisville for a couple of years, if you've been following along. I doubt you've been following along for that long, because, dude, this is our One Piece, man. I think I've said that a couple times, but yeah, it's our Grey's Anatomy on this channel. So taking a look at the All-Americans, we didn't really get a ton of great looks. We never really do anymore. We get trophies, we get them, we don't, whatever. Jason Williams, our sophomore redshirt quarterback, gets the start this year. It's a decent season. The yards aren't where I want them. The completion percentage is down. It's kind of gross, but it was good enough to get to 13-1 or 12-1, 13-1. So we'll take it. Heath Nixon has a great year. It is his best year as a Wildcat. He puts 1,200 yards on the ground, almost 1,300 with 16 touchdowns. I don't know how that wasn't almost good enough for Heisman votes or something. I mean, that's disgusting. Benjamin Lee is our leading receiver. Almost cracks 1,000 yards, but doesn't quite do it. But he does get 12 touchdowns, which is cool to see. Chris Carty is the next closest. We have two receivers knocking on that 900 mark. Yeah, that's how receiving production lays out. Looking at the O-line here, Terrence Baker has pretty much a mirrored season from last year. He just limits the number of sacks, cuts him in half, so that's pretty cool. The rest of the O-line, there's not a ton to talk about. So looking at our defense here, Sam David is now taking the reins here in tackles at 64. He puts up basically an identical season from last year. The sim loves to do that, just give us the same results year in and year out. I hate how it does that, but it does. Justin Faison leads the team in TFLs. He ties that number. And then Alfonso Heath leads the team in sacks by just one, beating out Faison by one. And then in INTs, Harvey Bishop, our strong safety, our junior, he leads the team in INT. So some guys who've been making sparse starts across the last couple of years, as we have so many sophomores, juniors, and seniors just fighting it out for starting positions at this point in the game. That's really it is what it is. We just have so much talent, and then all it takes is one loss to Penn State to just ruin everything, because that's how this game works. We need the playoff. Give me the playoff for this game. Is there a mod? Is there a mod for this? I'm playing on an OG PS2, so it doesn't matter anyway, but still. Looking at how things go off, again, our passing offense is best in the nation. As of course it is, because why wouldn't it be? Everything else is kind of a little bit further down. Stats that don't really matter too much. Defensively, things are kind of all over the place. We had a really good run stop, which is cool. I don't know where we were last year, but we had a really nice run stop. And then sacks, we were tied for third in sacks, so we were getting to the quarterback quite a bit. Again, it's not a stat I've been paying too much close attention to, but I like the fact that we did it. I like the fact that we managed to do that. I like to see more of that. So efficiency is all over the place, as it normally is. It just, make of these stats what you will, since we sim most of our games and everything. So it is what it is. So there's not much else, I guess. I mean, really, you've seen what it is. A season like this, it just burns you. It's like, I'm done, dude. Just get me to the next one so we could just see what happens. But we're going to go over our stats here. Colorado State tops the rankings, and Rice is second. Ew. Oregon State's third. Ew. Air Force is fourth. Oklahoma comes in at 5, Virginia Tech at 6. Finally, some normal, I want to say normal teams, but then we get Temple. Ohio State finishes at 9 again. I think it's the second straight year they finished 9th in the country. We come in at 11, just in front of West Virginia and NC State. Texas is here at 14. New Mexico State crawls up to 15. Remember, I think they were 14th and they lost, and that dropped them 19th last year or something like that. Miami drops all the way to 17th after being in the national title game last year. And we've got no Big Ten representation up here, ladies and folks. There is no Big Ten teams up here. Kansas State comes in at 23 after not being ranked, and then Marshall sneaks back in after not being ranked. Marshall hasn't really been heard of since the beginning of this dynasty. Remember, we played them. We played a bowl against them. I think it was the Motor City Bowl we played against them in year 3 or 4, and they finally reared their ugly head again. And Rice gets a page in Sports Illustrated, as they should. But we do win the Big Ten by 1 game over Ohio State. I think even if Ohio State finished 7-1, that one would have been to us. We still would have won it. So the Big Ten, I don't really know what to say. It was a bad year. Wisconsin has a terrible year at 4-8, man. That's just uncharacteristic for them. And Indiana manages to win 2 more games than they have been winning. So 3-9, that's an improvement for them, I guess. But us and Ohio State are the only double-digit win teams in the Big Ten. So it's a down year for our conference. We really should have taken advantage of that. I mean, we kind of did, but we just got caught lacking by Penn State. So You hate to see that, but we're going to move on ahead into the next year, man. I'm hungry to get back in and win another national title. I'm going to win back-to-back, so let's see you guys in the next video when we cover the offseason.